بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، فنسأل الله أن يعلمنا ما ينفعنا، وأن ينفعنا بما قد علمنا، وأن يزيدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقى ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع، من قلب لا يخشع، من نفس لا تشبع، ومن دعوة لا يستجاب لها. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربعة. أما بعد، فحياكم الله جميعا في درس من دروس تفسير سورة البقرة. ونبدأ الآن اليوم ب قول الله عز وجل: وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم. There are a number of questions and things to ponder over in this ayah. طبعا, let's just remind you of the context of this ayah. The context of the ayah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the Jews in Medina, and He is reminding them of the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon their forefathers. And all of these favors would encourage Bani Israel and would make it obligatory upon them to believe and respond to the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and accept Islam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is giving da'wah to Bani Israel, the Jews in Medina, to accept Islam. In the previous ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned نعم ماذا وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون قبله ماذا
واتقوا يوما
لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها. نعم. المهم, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has started. لحظة, 1 second, just give me 1 second. نعم لحظة. طيب. نعم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reminded them of the ni'mas. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم عن العالمين واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون. Now, وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون. طيب, remember وإذ. طيب, what is the meaning of إذ يا إخوان? What is the meaning of إذ? What is the meaning of إذ? Not exactly أذكروا. And the إذ itself, what does it mean? إذ itself, when. And when. When and وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون. And when we saved you from the people of Fir'aun. طيب. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word إذ, it's usually in the Tafsir, the ulama, they mentioned that here there is a muqaddar mahdhuf, there is something that is mahdhuf, and that is وَاذْكُرُوا إِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ. And remember, and when we saved you from the people of Fir'aun. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. What is the munasabah of mentioning these matters and these events in this context? What is the wisdom behind mentioning these events to Bani Israel? This is easy because we just mentioned it a while ago.
It is referring to the ancestors of Bani Israel.
Okay. So, why are they being reminded of what happened to their ancestors?
That they have been rescued.
They have been rescued. Ahsantum, jazakallah khair. They have been rescued, and then and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has again and again bestowed his favors upon them, rescued them from the people of Fir'aun, etc. So they should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. طيب وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون. I want you all to open ayah from Surat al-A'raf. وَإِذْ أَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ. It's ayah 141. Ayah 141 for comparing the two. وَإِذْ. Over there it says وَإِذْ أَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. Here in al-Baqarah it says وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. طيب. Now, the first question is, what is the difference between najja yunajji and anja yunji? طبعا, if يعني, in the previous week we have been يعني, going through some of the word patterns, so we know that anja yunji is af'ala yuf'ilu or akrama yukrimu, and najja yunajji is on the pattern of allama yu'allimu. So what is the difference between najjaynakum and anjaynakum? That's the first question, and then we will discuss why is it najjaynakum here and why is it anjaynakum over there. What is the difference between najjaynakum and anjaynakum? When the pattern of allama yu'allimu and najja yunajji is used, it is accompanied with either effort or a longer period of time in which something was carried out gradually. مثلا, يعني if I say علم, يعني علمت الطالب, I taught the student. يعني, now teaching is something that happens gradually. It does not happen suddenly. But if I use the word أعلمت فلانا الخبر, يعني let's say أعلمت زيدا الخبر, that means I told him the news. Now, telling someone the news does not require effort and does not happen gradually. It happens at once. So, allama yu'allimu or najja yunajji is gradual rescuing or saving of the people of Bani Israel. And anjaynakum is yani, when it is intended to give it a sense of suddenness, that we saved you from Bani Israel at once. We rescued you from Bani Israel at once. So this is the difference between najja and yunajji. طيب. When it comes to Surat al-Baqarah, they are being reminded of the ni'mas. They are being reminded of the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they in Surah al-Baqarah, they are being reminded of the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or here, yani, what is intended is for them to realize the sort of torment that they were going through and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or how they spent a very long time under that dhulm, and how eventually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescued them from Fir'aun. Now, for how long was it? Yani, if you look at the different ayahs in the Quran, before Musa alayhi salam, there is a fear that Fir'aun would get the children of Bani Israel, the sons, he would get them slaughtered. After Musa alayhi salam grows up, he's still killing the sons of Bani Israel. Musa alayhi salam moves to Madian, stays there for 10 years, he's still killing the children of Bani Israel. Now Musa alayhi salam is now 40 years old. Musa alayhi salam comes back, gives him da'wah, calls him to tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, calls him to the worship of Rabbul Alameen. He says, سَنُقَتِّلُ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ وَنَسْتَحِي نِسَاءَهُم. We will kill their sons and we will let their women live. طيب. الآن, يعني at least this is going on for 50, 60 years at least. So this is a very long time in which Bani Israel are being subjected to punishment. So وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ, how yani you spent a very long time and gradually you were saved from the torment uh, of Fir'aun. طيب. Moving on to Al-A'raf. Now here, وَإِذْ أَنْجَيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. Why is أَنْجَيْنَاكُم more suitable in Al-A'raf? Because in Al-A'raf, ya ikhwan, lots of events are being mentioned. Lots of events related to Fir'aun are being mentioned. The whole qissa of Bani Israel is being mentioned. Right? So now it starts from, yani, in A'raf, it's not just Bani Israel, rather there are stories of other prophets as well. And then the whole story of Musa alayhi salam is being related. So here in A'raf, the mention of information and details is more preferable than the reminder to Bani Israel or to the Jews how they were gradually rescued from Fir'aun. See, in Medina, when it's Surat al-Baqarah, in Medina, the one being addressed are the Jews. So they are being reminded of how severe a punishment they were being subjected to and how gradually they were rescued. So Najjayna was more suitable there. In A'raf, which is Makkiyah, Allahu A'lam, there are lots of stories of different prophets being related to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, why are stories of prophets related to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They are related to make him steadfast, And there is ibrah and lesson for us as well in these stories. But here, the Jews are not being addressed in Al-A'raf. There are lots of stories of lots of prophets. Amongst them, there is the whole story that has been related of Musa alayhi salam. So in Al-A'raf, the purpose isn't to remind Jews of the ni'mah and the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hence, وَإِذْ أَنْجَيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ, which comes in the middle of the story of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had rescued Bani Israel from the sea, from Fir'aun, and then how they asked Musa alayhi salam to arrange for them a deity, اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة. Then Musa alayhi salam said to them, قال أغير الله أبغيكم إلها وهو فضلكم على العالمين. And should I make someone other than Allah a deity for you, while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has preferred you over all of the over the rest of the people? And then comes وَإِذْ أَنْجَيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. So here a story is being related to us. So Allahu A'lam, that is why over there Anjayna has been used and over here Najjayna has been used, because Najjayna denotes that they have spent a very long time in the adhab and they have been gradually and eventually rescued from the adhab of Fir'aun. طيب. من وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. What is the meaning of آل فرعون? آل فرعون. ما معنى آل فرعون?
The people of Fir'aun.
People of Fir'aun. People of Fir'aun. طيب. What is the meaning of آل? Sister says family. Okay, al can mean a number of things. It can mean family, and it can also mean followers, or it can mean your qawm generally, right? So here, people of Fir'aun, here in this context, it doesn't really refer to the family of Fir'aun, rather the followers and the people of Fir'aun. من آل فرعون. وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب. طيب لحظة. Here, why does it say وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ instead of مِّن فِرْعَوْنَ? What is the munasabah of saying وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ instead of saying مِّن فِرْعَوْنَ? Who was the one who were the ones who would subject them to punishment? And was it Fir'aun himself? He would take out time and come and slaughter the sons of Bani Israel? Or was it the people of Fir'aun?
The people of Fir'aun.
The people of Fir'aun. أحسنتم. طيب. Now, if that is the case, here the purpose is for Jews to visualize and recall or remember how severe a punishment it was. So it is easier, or it is more يعني there is more detail to it when it says that وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُم مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ, يعني from the very people, from the very ones who were subjecting you to adhab. Now when adhab is attributed to Fir'aun, it is attributed to Fir'aun يعني metaphorically, it's figurative, because it's not Fir'aun himself doing the adhab. He's the one who is commanding or passing orders for them to be slaughtered or for them to be subjected to severe punishment. But when it says Ali Fir'aun, the very people who would carry out these punishments to you or for you or upon you. طيب وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب. ما معنى يسومونكم؟ ما معنى يسومونكم؟
To cause harm.
To cause harm, not really. Sam, what is the meaning of saum? Saum. Sin wa mim. Saum. Saum.
No.
Saum is when
Constancy.
you, sorry, again, ya Sheikh?
Constancy.
Constancy. Yes, you are close. Allahu alam. Yani saum. Sama yasumu, when you go out seeking something. When you go out seeking something. So, for example, the cattle is called as-sa'ima, sa'ima, because when it goes out and seeks food for herself, and you don't have to feed the cattle, the livestock, rather the cattle itself feeds itself. So it's called as-sa'ima. سائمة مثلا من الإبل, سائمة من البقر, وهكذا. طيب. So سام يسوم, it means when you go out seeking something. يسومونكم سوء العذاب is more horrifying a description, because these people are not just randomly subjecting you to adhab, rather they are seeking to punish you and torment you. So this is more terrifying and more horrific when it comes to reminding Bani Israel of the sort of troubles they have been through. وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم. طيب, what does this all tell us about Fir'aun and his people? What does it tell us about Fir'aun and his people? The fact that he is seeking, he is actually wanting and seeking to subject Bani Israel to severe punishment. He is slaughtering the sons of Bani Israel, and he is keeping their women alive. What does this tell us about Fir'aun and his people? And what did they? What was their stance towards Bani Israel? Is it just because they are scared of Bani Israel, or is it that they also have lots of hatred for Bani Israel? أحسنتم. نعم. Now, the thing is, and we can find similarities, or we can draw similarities between the Fara'ina of today. Like, for example, what goes on in Syria, what goes on in Burma, in Myanmar, what goes on in some places in India, let's say, where there are Hindus or these Hindutva people, they actually have hatred and animosity towards the Muslims. And this reflects in يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُم. It's not just that they are scared of them, or they want to just get rid of them, etc. If they wanted to just get rid of them, they could have let Musa alayhi salam take Bani Israel away with him. So فَأَرْسِلْ مَعِيَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, send with me Bani Israel, let us go. Fir'aun didn't let him go. There is this violent hatred that they have towards Bani Israel, And there are similarities which we can find in the fara'ina of today, be it the ones, be it the Americans at times, subhanallah, in Iraq, how they used to treat the people in the jails, be it in Syria, the Nusayris, the Bashar al-Assad and his يعني gang, how they have been treating the Sunnis in the jails. Ma'adallah, ma'adallah. These are the fara'in of today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from their evil. طيب. Allah says, يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. Now, what is the meaning of سُوء الْعَذَابِ? And then I'll ask you a question with regards to this. What is سُوء الْعَذَابِ? ما معنى سوء العذاب? There is a very important faida, a very interesting point to be made here once you tell me the meaning of سوء العذاب.
Very harsh punishment.
Harsh punishment. طيب. What is the meaning of سوء? The worst of punishment. ممتاز. Terrible. ممتاز. What is the meaning of سوء? Bad. Evil. ممتاز. طيب. Now, okay, and su is the evil itself. It's not an adjective, rather it's a noun. I mean, the evil itself is called su. Yani goodness and evilness. So goodness is, مثلا, you can say khair, or you can say, you can use other words for goodness. And on the other hand, for evil, you would use the word su. Right. If a person is evil, or if something is evil, it is called sayyi'. It's called sayyi'. So su here is a masdar. Su here is a masdar. And it refers to evilness itself. Right? Sayyi' refers to something that is evil. هذا أمر سيء مثلا. This is a very bad thing to happen, or this يعني فلان رجل سيء. He is a bad or evil person. But when you say فلان رجل سوء, now you are using a masdar to describe a person. What happens when you use a masdar to describe something? It is as if you are saying it is all of evilness itself. You're not saying this person is evil. This person has evilness in him. Rather, he is evilness itself. So this is the difference when you use the masdar to describe something. رجل سوء is worse than رجل سيء. رجل سيء, a person who is characterized with evilness. But رجل سوء, as if you're saying this person is evilness, all of it itself. So this is the difference between سيء العذاب and سوء العذاب. If it had been said سيء العذاب, it would have been lesser than سوء العذاب. But سوء العذاب is as if this adab was evilness all in this adab. So يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم. طيب. What is the difference between يذبحون and يذبحون? سوء الخلق, it depends. If you want to say سوء الخلق, if you want to refer to bad manners, then it's normal. But if you are going to refer to a person and you would say فلان رجل سوء الخلق مثلا, then this means that he is very, very evil, as if he is evilness and all of the evilness himself. So it depends in what context you're using سوء الخلق. Else, normally you would describe a person as سيء الخلق. سيء الخلق. Anyways, what is the difference between ذبح and ذبح? ذبح and ذبح. We know the أوزان. يذبحون, they slaughter. صحيح. يذبحون, they slaughter. But يذبحون would have also given a similar meaning. They slaughter. But what happens when you add an extra ba in the middle, just like in علم يعلم, or مثلا حدث يحدث كلم يكلم. ذبح, to slaughter. ذبح, to slaughter as well. But what is the difference between the two? Now,
يذبح يعني repetition.
okay, ممتاز. The pattern فعل يفاعل علم يعلم, it is at times used to depict or to denote takthir, abundance of something. So for example, if you'd say موتت الإبل, that the camels have died in large numbers. موتت الإبل. You could have said ماتت الإبل, the camels have died. But when you say موتت الإبل, the camels have died in large number. وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك. غلقت الأبواب, there were many doors that she closed. Many doors that she closed. And the doors that were closed were in, or the gates that were closed were in large number. وكذلك إذا قلنا يقتلون أبناءهم, يعني he would kill he would kill the sons in large numbers. يعني large number of people are being killed. يعني قتلوا تقتيل, يعني they have killed people in large numbers. Likewise, if you say مثلا طوفت حول الكعبة مثلا, this would mean that I did tawaf around the Kaaba a lot of times. So فعل يفاعل or علم يعلم, this denotes takthir, abundance of something being done in large numbers, or being done to an object which is in large numbers, or being done repetitively. Like in case of طوفت حول الكعبة, يعني I did tawaf a lot of times. طيب? So when it says يذبحون أبناءكم, this means that they were being slaughtered in large numbers. It's not just a few sons of Bani Israel being slaughtered, rather they are being slaughtered in large numbers. يذبحون أبناءكم. طيب. In Surat al-A'raf, it says يقتلون أبناءكم. Here it says يذبحون أبناءكم. Which one paints a more horrific picture of what was going on with Bani Israel over there? يذبحون or يقتلون? يذبحون. طيب. Keeping this in mind, that يذبحون is more horrific, why is it more suitable to use يذبحون in Surah al-Baqarah, where Jews are being addressed, and يقتلون in Surah al-A'raf, when the story is being related to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam? When the detailed account of what happened with Bani Israel is being related and narrated in Surah al-A'raf. So why is يذبحون more suitable here, and why is يقتلون more suitable there? When Jews نعم شيخ تفضل
Yeah, I try.
تفضل شيخ.
I think that يذبح is more specific, and يقتل is more general. So like Bani Israel is specifically telling them that they will be slaughtered.
Okay, Bani Israel are being صحيح, that يذبحون is more specific and يقتلون is more عام, it's more general. يعني it could be by way of ذبح, it could be some other way that they would kill the sons of Bani Israel. But the question still remains that why is the specific word more suitable to use here than over there? That is because يعني the Jews, when they are being addressed in Medina, they are being reminded of the terrible and horrific adhab that they went through, from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescued them. So يذبحون, because it's more horrific to the listener, يعني يذبحون, imagine يعني small يعني babies being cut from the يعني throat, subhanallah, for years and years. نجيناكم, gradual, years and years, they are being يعني slaughtered. Now, when yudabbihuna is used, you would visualize the act of slaughter happening in front of your eyes. When yuqattiluna is used, you wouldn't necessarily visualize the way they have been killed. Okay, they have been killed, yes, khalas. You might visualize some dead bodies, they have been killed, but you wouldn't visualize the way they have been killed. But when you visualize the way they were subjecting Bani Israel to this adab, then it is it has a greater effect and it moves you more than it does when the more generic word is used. And because here Banu Israel are being reminded and they're being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recounting on them the his favors, how he saved them from such a severe punishment. That's why Yudabbihuna was more suitable here, and yuqattiluna over there because it is the account of Bani Israel and the whole story that is being related to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the finer details and there over there, the preference is not reminder of Bani Israel, rather the relation of the story, and hence yuqattiluna was more suitable there. Another reason is that yuqattiluna is aam because it's generic, and so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being told that there were more ways in which the children were being killed. Another reason is that in Surah Al-A'raf itself, Fir'aun says, سَنُقَتِّلُ أَبْنَاءَهُم. So the word that he used, that's the exact word that is being used in the other ayah, يُقَتِّلُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. So that is why يُقَتِّلُونَ was more suitable in Surah Al-A'raf than يُذَبِّحُونَ. طيب. يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. Because Surah Al-Baqarah, they remind of the severity of punishment of how Allah saved them. So explicit words have to be used. Mumtaz. Well, nicely put. Jazakallahu khairan. طيب. In Surah Ibrahim, وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ, Musa alayhi salam is told to remind them of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has saved Bani Israel and of the events in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Bani Israel. Over there, Musa alayhi salam says, وَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. In Surah Ibrahim, ayah 6. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ أَنْجَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ وَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. طيب. Here, if we look in Surah Al-Baqarah, يُذَبِّحُونَ is used without a waw. يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. What is that adab, or what is that sawm of su'al adab? That adab is that يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. Over there, in Surah Ibrahim, Prophet Musa alayhi salam is saying, يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ وَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. Why the difference in both the surahs? Here, ya ikhwan, the purpose is to call them towards iman. So the severity and the visualization is more preferred here. Over there, Musa alayhi salam is being told to remind them of the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is this is the purpose of Musa alayhi salam in his statements, that he's reminding them of the multiple favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when multiple favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are supposed to be reminded, he is dividing them. So he says, يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ وَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. So look at each one of these as a separate punishment from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved you. In Baqarah, يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ is an explanation of يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. Over there, Musa alayhi salam has made these three into three separate things. يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ وَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. And from each one of these, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rescued you. So Allah, this is what our teacher Sheikh Fahd al-Shitwi had mentioned, He said that يعني over there يعني موسى عليه السلام يعدد عليهم النعم. He is recounting the favors upon them because he's being told to do so. وذكرهم بأيام الله يعني remind them of the days of favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here the purpose is more to يعني encourage them to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the يعني more emphasis is being given to the detailed picturization of what happened with Bani Israel, so that they would recall the severity of the punishment that they were being subjected to. طيب. وفي ذلكم لحظة. What else we have here? يذبحون يقتلون. We're done with it. طيب. لماذا قيل الأبناء؟ نعم. Why أبناء؟ يذبحون أبناءكم. Why not يذبحون أولادكم? What is the difference between أولاد and أبناء?
They were killing only boys, the male.
أحسنت. And أولاد means?
The children, both.
Children, both. أحسنت. ولد is inclusive of the boy and the girl. ولد means boy or the girl. ولد is any child, be it a boy or a girl. So it's يعني the contemporary usage of ولد for boys only is يعني not precise, not accurate. So ولد is for both boy and girl. So if they had said يذبحون, if it was said يذبحون أولادكم, it would have been inclusive of the girls. But rather they were only killing the sons. يذبحون أبناءكم, your sons. ويستحيون نساءكم. طيب نساء. Why نساءكم instead of بناتكم? يعني here it's أبناءكم, your boys, your sons. Why not? And they would keep your daughters alive. Why keep your women alive? They are not women when they are being kept alive. They were at that time, they are little children, they are daughters, banats. They are not nisa yet. But why are they being described as nisa? At the time when the sons are being slaughtered and the women are or the daughters are being left to live, they are still banat, right? Jawari, banat, but they are not yet nisa. Yet they are being described as nisa. What is the secret behind this? And what is the next question I'll ask later. Because leaving your women alive is okay. خلاص, let me ask this question again, and then inshallah we'll answer both the questions. ويستحيون نساءكم. طيب, is يستحيون نساءكم, isn't it a relief? يعني okay, if they're killing your sons, at least they're leaving leaving your women alive. So isn't that a relief, or is it also a sort of punishment? ويستحيون نساءكم. And why is it being mentioned in this context? And if it was a relief, it wouldn't have been mentioned. It would have only been mentioned يذبحون أبناءكم وانتهينا. But why is it in particular being mentioned ويستحيون نساءكم? Because it is some sort of punishment. طيب, what is the punishment in يستحيون نساءكم?
They were making them slaves, I think, slave girls.
Mumtaz. They were enslaving them. Those girls, they were being enslaved. They were being used they were being used later on as slaves. Now tell me, why is nisa'akum used instead of banatikum?
Because of the slave enslavement, then they were using the ladies. So
Ahsan. So this يعني enrages the listener more when you say that your women, women who have grown up, those young grown up women are being enslaved by these people, then it enrages the listener more than if it was said ويستحيون بناتكم ويستحيون بناتكم. طيب, they would let them live. لا, but يستحيون نساءكم, to enslave those women who are young and grown up, and they would use them as their servants and slaves. So this is why those daughters have been described as nisa. This is called باعتبار ما سيكون. They are being described with what they will end up being. They will be nisa in the future. but the word nisa is already being used for them here. So why is this majaz being used here? And why is nisa being used for the daughters who are not yet nisa? بِاعْتِبَارِ مَا سَيَكُنَّ, because to enrage the listener more and remind him of the severity of the punishment, or severity and the dhul that they had to go through. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. طيب, وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ, and in all of this, طبعا, and this also means that يستحيون نساءكم is also part of the test. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. طيب, in all of this there is a severe test for you, or there was a severe test for you from your Lord. طيب, severe test and ربكم. When is the word Rabb used usually? Or what does the word or usage of Rabb denote usually?
And you can't
Provider,
take
sustainer,
Sorry again?
provider or sustainer.
Provider, sustainer. It is used when it is intended to express the compassion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine nurturing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Rabb is used when this aspect or these aspects of Allah's sifat are to be highlighted, and Allah is used when the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be highlighted. طيب, what is the munasabah of bala with rabbikum? It's a severe test. So why rabbikum is being used? Why isn't it being said وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ? There is some message in this. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. That what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intend through this bala, through this test?
for them to turn back to him.
Turn back to him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he say in Surat al-Qasas? Read from إن فرعون علا في الأرض وجعل أهلها شيعا يستضعف طائفة منهم يذبح أبناءهم ويستحيي نساءهم إنه كان من المفسدين ونريد أن to raise them in status. ممتاز. طيب يا أحمد اقرأ. ونريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض ونجعلهم
أئمة ونجعلهم الوارثين.
ممتاز. ونريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want? ونريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا. We want to favor them. We want to bestow our favor upon those who were oppressed. نريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض ونجعلهم أئمة, and we want to make them leaders. ونجعلهم الوارثين, and the inheritors. So in ربكم there is a message that this severe test, there is a lot of khair intended for you. There is a lot of khair being intended for you. وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم. There is a lot of khair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still looking after you. When he is subjecting you to this severe test, Allah hasn't forsaken you. Rather, he is there still is this divine care for you. So do not think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forsaken you. Rather, he was there all the time, and there was a lot of khair intended for you with this bala that you were subjected to. طيب, نأتي الآن إلى الآية التالية. وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون. طيب, isn't this part of وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ? Isn't this part of the rescue when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescued Bani Israel from Fir'aun? So this parting of the sea and the rescuing of Bani Israel from the army of Fir'aun, this is all part of وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. Then why is it being mentioned here again? Why is this being mentioned here again? It is part of وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ. Hi, Shabab.
To show that it is a lot of reminders that you have to think and recall.
صحيح, but خلاص وإذ نجيناكم, I recalled all of the favors. Why is a favor being specifically mentioned? Why is there a more specific mention of this one?
Because it's like the most biggest favor.
Ahsan, because of its because it has greater significance amongst other favors. This one was a more intense event, because now the sea is in front of them. They're saying قالوا إنا لمدركون, we are going to be caught by Fir'aun. And Musa alayhi salam says قال كلا إن معي ربي سيهدين, with me is my Lord, he is going to guide me. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired to Musa alayhi salam and revealed to him that he should hit the sea with his staff, and then it would be parted. So this is a miracle, and this rescue is greater than all of the other rescues or all of the other najah or najat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to Bani Israel. This is of the greatest significance. So there's a specific mention of this being mentioned here. And there is another عطف الخاص على العام. It is exactly عطف الخاص على العام. ممتاز. عطف الخاص على العام is exactly that. And عطف الخاص على العام is always used for تأكيد, for emphasis, to emphasize on that خاص, to emphasize on that خاص. طيب. And there is another thing here يا إخوان. وأغرقنا آل فرعون. In this we also benefit something, that it's not just that we rescued you from Fir'aun. Rather, the one who oppresses the slaves of Allah في أرض الله, on the earth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he is not going to be left like this without being retributed for what he has carried out and for all the evil that he has committed. Rather, he will also be punished within this dunya and in the akhirah. So in this we have the result of the evil of Fir'aun. So in this there is a lesson for Fir'aun-like people, and even for us who might oppress those who are under us, that you must make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, else you might also be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within the dunya as well as in the akhirah. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ. So this was important, because one might think khalas, they have been rescued and Fir'aun was left the way he was. Rather, Fir'aun was also subjected to punishment, and khalas, he was rewarded and retributed for all the evil that he committed. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. What is the fa'idah in وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ? وأنتم تنظرون. What is the fa'idah here?
It's a reminder of the miracle, because they were watching.
They were watching. طيب. وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون. ممتاز. It's firstly the reminder of the miracle, and there is another thing in this. وأنتم تنظرون وأغرقنا آل فرعون, which is more soothing and which is more comforting when it comes to oppressed people. Is it more comforting for them when they hear of the demise or of the death or of the of their oppressor being punished, when they hear of it or when they witness it with their own eyes? Which one is more comforting for them?
Witnessing, of course.
Ahsantum. So that is the reason. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. This is also a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He let you see and witness the drowning of Fir'aun, the one who oppressed you. Which is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah, what does it say? It says, قَاتِلُوهُمْ يُعَذِّبْهُمُ اللَّهُ بِأَيْدِيكُمْ. Fight with them, Allah will punish them with your hands. يُعَذِّبْهُمُ اللَّهُ بِأَيْدِيكُمْ وَيُخْزِيهِمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will belittle them. وَيُخْزِيهِمْ وَيَنْصُرْكُمْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And He will help you over them and aid you over them. وَيَشْفِي صُدُورَ قَوْمٍ مُؤْمِنِينَ. And He will soothe the hearts of the believers. He will disgrace them and He will give adab to them with your hands. And when Allah will give adab to the kuffar with our hands, it is more soothing for the mu'mineen, it's more comforting for them, it's more relieving for them. This is also a ni'mah of Allah, that the one who oppressed you, you find him, you witness with your own eyes how he is being killed, or how you witness his demise. Now,
Yeah, but Ustaz, the Jews actually at that time didn't see this actually.
وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, they did not see it.
Yes, I mean the Jews in the Medina whom this ayat is.
نعم. Oh, you mean the ones in the Medina? صحيح. Now here they're being all the favors that have been mentioned in this context were for their forefathers, but they are being attributed to them as well, because there is a qaida that says when the favor upon someone's forefather is a favor upon him. So that is why this uslub is being used here. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, when your forefathers were witnessing it, and how soothing it was. So this is sahih, that in fact all of these favors, and وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ, it's not the Jews of the Medina, rather the forefathers. فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ, we saved you, rescued you, the forefathers, not the Jews of the Medina. But this whole context is designed in this way, that they are being reminded of the favors that were bestowed upon their forefathers, as the favors upon forefathers are favors upon you as well. وأنتم تنظرون. طيب. وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر. What is the use of ba here? What is the benefit of ba here? Oh, sorry, but the people present in the time of the Prophet. Oh, that's the same question. No, صحيح. I just addressed that. وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر. What is the benefit of ba? The ba here, some of the mufassirun have said that it's فرقنا بكم البحر, along ba for mulabasa, as you enter the sea, and as along with you the sea was being parted. فأنجيناكم. طيب, now you guys tell me, why أنجيناكم instead of نجيناكم? Because the rescue here was sudden, or was it gradual? In this particular event.
Sudden.
أحسنتم. That's why أنجيناكم وليس نجيناكم. فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون. Quickly, وإذ وعدنا موسى 40 ليلة ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. Why are the 40 nights of Musa عليه السلام being mentioned here within the in the context of the favors of Allah upon Bani Israel? What happened in these 40 nights? Why are these a ni'mah? Why are these a ni'mah?
Because the scripture was given.
Ahsan, because they were given the Torah, the book was revealed within these 40 nights. So that's why they are being reminded of these 40 nights as well. Also because this event that follows it took place after it. So in order to put the chronology of the events in place, this event must to be mentioned. وَإِذْ وَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 40 ليلة ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. طيب. Why were these 40 nights? Allahu a'lam. Why 40? This is from the hikam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next question is ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. Why did they take the calf as a deity, a ma'bud, and not something else? Why not some idol of a human? Why a calf? Because it is said in some of the athar that Fir'aun, when it said to him, أتذر موسى وقومه ليفسدوا في الأرض ويذرك وآلهتك, that they would leave you, abandon you and your deities. It is said that Fir'aun used to either worship himself, he himself used to worship a cow, or he had cows under him, whom he used to make people worship them. These cows, the Fir'aun used to make people worship cows. So because Banu Israel were living with Fir'aun and Al Fir'aun for such a long time, they had adopted such things from them. And this teaches us, ya ikhwan, that one should strive his utmost to live amongst Muslims and not amongst mushrikeen. Because when you live amongst mushrikeen, things, shirk and these evil practices become normalized for you. So this is what happened with Banu Israel as well, because of the for the decades or the centuries that they lived with Ali Fir'aun. This was a normal behavior for them, and that's why they ended up themselves worshipping the calf. طيب ثم اتخذوا العجل من بعده. What is the difference between بعده and من بعده? بعده, after it. من بعده, it's more specific in a sense that after Musa alayhi salam has gone, then you took, or after this is done, then you made the calf a deity. مثلا قلتم لن يبعث الله من بعده رسولا. When Yusuf alayhi salam passed away, so this person from Ali Fir'aun, he's telling the Ali Fir'aun that you said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not send a messenger after him, min ba'dihi, and after Yusuf alayhi salam is gone. But when you say just ba'dahu might mean that even when Yusuf alayhi salam is hayy, he is alive at that time, it would be inclusive of that time and the time after Yusuf alayhi salam. But when you say min ba'dihi, it is only after Yusuf alayhi salam. So min ba'dihi ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون, after Musa alayhi salam had gone. Also, some of the scholars have said that min ba'dihi means like right after. Ba'dahu would mean like maybe like after it, after some time, after many years, after some days. But min ba'dihi, like right after wa'adana Musa 40 laylan, right after that, you had made the ijl a ma'bud for yourself. Wa antum zalimun, and you were zalimun, you were oppressors in doing that. What is the meaning of dhulm? What is the meaning of dhulm? Dhulm means وضع الشيء في غير موضعه, to put something in a place that it does not deserve. وأنتم ظالمون, shirk is dhulm because you put, you associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves that no partners are associated with him. So that is how it is dhulm. It is also, they are also zalimun in this way. They are doing dhulm with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, oppression, dhulm in particular, does not mean that the mazloom must be hurt by it. No, dhulm is just وضع الشيء في غير موضعه, to put something in a place it does not deserve. Right? So it's not necessary that the mazloom is being hurt by this dhulm. لا ما يلزم. So وأنتم ظالمون لله وظالمون لأنفسكم أيضا. You are also zalim for your own selves, because you are causing yourself to go to Jahannam by committing shirk. ثم عفونا عنكم من بعد ذلك لعلكم تشكرون. And this is the purpose for which the first ayah was mentioned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still forgave you even after this great crime that you committed. And after all of the ni'mas of Allah, Allah has rescued you from Fir'aun, you are making the calf a ma'bud for yourself. And then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not punish you, did not destroy you. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still forgave you. So this was another great ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are being reminded of. ثُمَّ عَفَوْنَا عَنْكُم مِّن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you would be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. If anyone has any questions, quickly, if they could ask. It's about to be time for Maghrib prayer here, so quick question inshallah can be allowed. بارك الله فيكم.